What's going on, everybody? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and you know I don't like to talk about rumors and innuendo because, well, fake news gonna fake news. It's the same reason why I don't believe that Bluepoint Games are working on a Dark Souls remake for PS5. There's a billion different fake leaks with no real source, so I call it fake news. So until we get confirmation of anything, just like what I'm about to talk about, well, take it with a big, heaping, life-threatening bowl of salt. Anyway, this one stems from something that was put out recently about some new trademarks and patents and copyrights and whatnot that were done by Sony fairly recently. Now, these ones, they look to be some type of cartridge-based storage media. And some bigger galaxy brain people out there as well have some very, very interesting thoughts about these. And one of them, particularly, piqued my interest, and that's not a good thing because, well, when I put my eyes on something, woo lad, it's going to get scrutinized, or it's going to get praised because, well, that could definitely be a possibility, but in this case, it's not. So, what happened anyway was Sony filed a trademark for some type of physical-based storage media, something that looks a bit like a cartridge anyway. Looks roughly about the size of a Game Gear cartridge, looks a bit bigger than, say, a Game Boy Advance one, and significantly bigger than something like the Nintendo Switch game cards. But you'd see my point anyway. Now, what could these be used for? Many people would obviously theorize that there would be some new handheld system, obviously UMDs, and even the idea of a portable physical media disk drive would be completely out of there. Now, a PlayStation equivalent of a Switch is also a very real possibility in some people's minds. I 100% firmly believe that they will not bother with any type of handheld or hybrid system ever again, or at least in the next decade. But what else could these be used for? Now, we already know that the PS4 is going to have a physical media drive. It's going to be an optical 4K Blu-ray drive with support for up to 100 gigabyte Blu-ray discs. So where do these come in? Well, here is what some enterprising young person out there came up with a theory that I would like to comment on. Someone theorized and even rendered everything you're seeing in this video. They're obviously not real except the patent that was filed, but the other ones, they're all just fan renders, if you will, about what these could potentially look like based on the patents filed and whatnot. Now, the theory behind one of these, the one that I find interesting enough to talk about, is the idea that the PS5 could use these for storage. Now, what do I mean by that? Because we all know the PS5 is going to have an internal solid-state drive when it comes for storage. So in theory, these could potentially just be hot swappable drives, if you will. Think of almost like a memory card, but maybe not a memory card. That might be a bit too easy, but think of it this way. This is an easy, hot swappable, just turn on, turn off, plug in, plug out, very, very easily exchangeable solid state drive. So you can add more storage. Maybe you can add bigger storage. Let's say, for example, the PS5 ships with 500 gigabytes. With how bad Sony is with condensing down their OS and how big games are going to be, you'd probably fit 2, maybe 3 games on there. So it makes sense that you would want to put in a bigger SSD. Something maybe along the lines of these. Maybe there'll be ports for multiple drives at the same time, or maybe you can just flip open a little door, quickly unplug it, plug one of the new ones in, and away you go. Now, this, in my opinion, is an absolutely awful idea. And there's several reasons why I'm going to go with this. The first reason, it's nowhere near as difficult to change a drive of any type on any of the consoles. You look at the PlayStation 3, very easy. Had a specific little drawer that would just pop out. You could just put in your new drive and away you go. The same with the PS4. It's basically the same deal. Little bit just slides right out, put the drive in and away you go. From the physical change side, it's very, very easy. So this could be something to do with that. Again, this would not make it any easier. But here's where the biggest negative comes in whatsoever. And this, honestly, if turns out to be the case, this shocks me that Sony would ever do anything like this. Because that means they have learned absolutely nothing from the PlayStation Vita. They have learned absolutely nothing from seeing the last 2.5 years from the competitor in the Nintendo Switch. It just means that they look at their fan base, their install base, the consumers, and they just think, well, you know what? Fuck them. We're Sony. We're PlayStation. We won the last generation. We have to do this. You know why? People will fucking pay for it, and people will have to deal with it. Because this is proprietary media, manufactured on a considerably smaller scale. You know what that means? Considerably higher prices. The Vita was DOA on day one because of its proprietary memory cards. The Vita is a fantastic system in every way, shape and form except for its proprietary game cards, which in typical Sony fashion, they charged an arm and a leg for. It's the PSP, the Memory Stick Duo, the Memory Stick Pro Duo all over again. If these come out and if this turns out to be true, these will cost an arm and a leg far more expensive than even a regular 3.5 inch solid state storage drive. I'm sorry, 2.5 inch solid state storage drive. Hell, even an M.2 drive. And that will have some significant repercussions on not only the system, the people that want to buy it, and even the people to potentially upgrade it, because they may be forced. There may be no potential normal solid state drive option in there. They may only have to use one of these, which brings us back to the Vita all over again. And if you're wondering why I compared the Nintendo Switch in this one a minute ago too, well, they have the same situation. They use a proprietary game card as their main storage media, which is obviously made in significantly smaller quantities. Therefore, it is significantly more expensive, which companies usually pass the extra cost onto the consumer, which is why games have a Switch tax for being more expensive, because straight up the physical media costs more. In fact, Nintendo have even delayed the 64GB game cards until some point in later 2020. Originally supposed to be out at some point in early 2019, they've been delayed to late 2020. Simply because they will, first off, very few games will ever use them. In fact, at the moment, there's only 2 single games that use the 32GB cards on the Nintendo Switch. One of them is a day one launch of Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. And the other is the terrible port of The Witcher. So let alone any game even needing 64GB, and of course not to mention the significantly smaller, minuscule supply, if you will, that would need to be made, they will be astronomically priced. And this only gets more and more expensive when you're looking at solid state storage up to maybe 2TB that you might put in a PS5. So this has the potential for disaster. Now, of course, this could all be completely nothing, and it could all be just one fan theory. But personally, I really hope this is not the case. I hope this is something completely different. I hope the PS5 will just use a regular 2.5 inch solid state drive, or hell, even an M.2 drive. Something standard and easy to change and easy to replace. And you're not forced into buying proprietary, overpriced Sony media. So what do you think about the whole situation? Do you think this trademark that's going on, do you think it could possibly be the new solid state storage solution that the PS5 won't have a standard 2.5 inch or any type of standardized drive and will only use overly priced, overly expensive proprietary Sony media? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing, or what else could these be used for? Who knows, maybe games could be sold on these cartridges instead of the disc-based version. Maybe you'll have an option. We'll see how it goes anyway. In the meantime, let me know all that good stuff in the comments section below. Hit the appropriate button to let me know how it did on the video, and while you're at it, why not head on over and hit the subscribe button and even ring the little notification bell. Granted, getting a notification from YouTube in current year about a new video upload or live stream or whatever is a whole other story. But hey, at least you can say you tried, am I right? As always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.